Has the US always been a prominent global player? The answer is no. A century ago, the United States was more of a spectator on the global stage than a main actor. However, that all began to change during the tumultuous era of World War I under the leadership of President Woodrow Wilson. Wilson, a man of high ideals and an even higher vision for America, took a drastic step by sending 2 million American soldiers to fight in the European theaters. This was a significant departure from the country's previous isolationist stance, marking its initial foray into global engagement. Wilson's vision went beyond mere military involvement. He saw an opportunity to shape a new world order, one where America could play a leading role in promoting peace and democracy. Wilson's ideals were encapsulated in his 14 points, a blueprint for peace that he presented to Congress in 1918. These points included principles such as self-determination, freedom of the seas, and a proposal for an international organization to prevent future wars. This organization, which would eventually become the League of Nations, represented a new way of thinking about international relations. It was a bold step towards global cooperation and collective security. However, this newfound global engagement was short-lived. Despite Wilson's efforts, the United States never joined the League of Nations. The trauma of the war and the economic hardships that followed led to a wave of disillusionment. The country retreated into a period of isolationism during the 1930s, choosing to focus on domestic affairs rather than entangling alliances abroad. So the US's first taste of global engagement was brief. But a more significant shift was on the horizon. The world was changing rapidly, and the United States would soon find itself drawn back onto the global stage, not as a reluctant participant, but as a key player in shaping the post-war world order. But that, dear listeners, is a story for our next scene. World War II marked a turning point for the US's role in the world. With the dust of the devastating war settling, the world needed a new order, a fresh perspective to heal the wounds and rebuild from the ruins. It was here that the US, under the leadership of President Harry Truman, stepped up to the plate. Truman, along with other visionary leaders, recognized the need for a new international order. They set about crafting a strategic framework of permanent alliances and multilateral institutions. This initiative was not merely a political move, it was a radical shift in the global dynamics, a new era of international relations, which came to be known as the Liberal International Order, or Pax Americana. This order was not just about power, it was about responsibility. The US, under Pax Americana, didn't just assume a leadership role, it took upon itself the mantle of maintaining stability and promoting cooperation among nations. The focus was on building bridges, not walls. The US stood as the beacon of hope in a world ravaged by war, guiding nations towards peace, unity, and progress. The terms Liberal International Order and Pax Americana may sound a bit out of date today, but their essence is timeless. The fundamental need for large countries to provide global public goods, to step up as leaders in the true sense of the word, remains as relevant today as it was back then. The era of Pax Americana saw the US truly begin to assert its dominance. It was not about ruling the world, but about leading it. It was about showing the way, setting the standards, and helping other nations rise along. This was the true spirit of Pax Americana, a testament to the US's commitment to global peace and prosperity. As we delve deeper into this fascinating journey of US hegemony, we begin to realize that it's not just about power, it's about purpose, it's about making a difference, about leaving a mark. It was under this new international order that the US truly began to assert its dominance. But what did this liberal international order entail, and what challenges did it face? Let's take a closer look. Firstly, in the realm of political military affairs, the order aimed to ensure peace and security. It established alliances and a system of collective defense, creating a safety net against potential threats. However, this wasn't without challenges. Disagreements among allies, uneven contribution to defense budgets, and the rise of non-state actors posed significant hurdles. Secondly, the order facilitated economic relations, promoting trade, investment, and economic cooperation. This led to unprecedented prosperity and economic interdependence among nations. Yet the challenges were also considerable. Economic disparities, protectionist tendencies, and the fallout of financial crises often strained these relations. Thirdly, the order addressed ecological relations, recognizing the need for global solutions to environmental challenges. But the international community often struggled to reach consensus on environmental policies. Moreover, balancing economic growth with environmental preservation was and remains a contentious issue. Lastly, the liberal international order advocated for universal human rights. It championed the cause of freedom, equality and justice. However, the enforcement of these rights was often inconsistent, leading to criticism of double standards. Furthermore, there were disagreements over what constituted universal human rights, as cultural and historical context varied greatly across nations. Despite the considerable challenges, the liberal international order played a crucial role in shaping the world as we know it. It facilitated cooperation and dialogue among nations, promoted economic prosperity, and set the stage for tackling global challenges collectively. It also championed the cause of human rights, despite the complexities involved. However, it's also worth noting that this order was not universally embraced. Some viewed it as a tool for the U.S. and other powerful nations to maintain their dominance. Yet its accomplishments and ideals cannot be overlooked. In conclusion, the liberal international order, despite its imperfections, set the groundwork for the U.S.'s rise to hegemony. It fostered cooperation, promoted shared prosperity, and laid the foundation for addressing global challenges. Despite its challenges, the liberal international order set the stage for the U.S.'s rise to hegemony. Fast forward to the present day, and we see a very different picture. The United States, once a beacon of global leadership, is now facing a myriad of challenges that threaten its hegemony. The rise of other powers is a major factor. China, for instance, has emerged as a formidable competitor, both economically and militarily. The European Union, despite its internal complexities, remains a significant player in global affairs. The world is no longer unipolar. It's a multipolar stage where the US shares the spotlight with other actors. Then there's the shifting global dynamics. The 21st century is marked by a host of complex, interconnected issues: climate change, cybersecurity threats, global health crises, to name a few. These are not challenges that any one country can tackle alone. They require collective action, a shared responsibility. The US's traditional approach of unilateral decision-making is becoming less and less viable in this interconnected world. Lastly, we cannot overlook the role of domestic politics. Increasingly, we see a country divided along ideological lines, with polarizing debates over immigration, economic policy, and the role of the US in the world. This internal discord is not only hampering the country's ability to project a unified global front, but also raising questions about its reliability as a global leader. The US's unipolar moment of hegemony, driven by technological innovation and economic growth, seems to be fading. The forces that once fueled its ascendancy are now contributing to its dissolution. But this doesn't necessarily signal the end. Rather, it's a call for adaptation, for rethinking the ways the US engages with the world. The US's unipolar moment of hegemony seems to be unraveling, but let's remember, unraveling is not the same as disappearance. It's a transformation, a shift in the global order, and as we'll explore in the next scene, it presents both challenges and opportunities for the future of US leadership. So, what does the future hold for US leadership? Good question. As we peer into the crystal ball of tomorrow, let's remember that leadership is not about domination, it's about collaboration. As the world becomes increasingly complex, the US must adapt its approach to leadership. American exceptionalism needs to evolve. The focus should shift from a singular dominant force to sharing the provision of global public goods. It's about ushering in a new era of cooperation, where power is balanced with responsibility. This means working closely with other nations to address global challenges, from climate change to cybersecurity threats. Woodrow Wilson's legacy of developing international institutions remains incredibly relevant. Organizations like the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, all born of American leadership, are crucial in maintaining global stability. They provide a platform for nations to come together, negotiate, and resolve conflicts peacefully. However, America's place in the world is not only threatened by the rise of other powers abroad. A significant threat comes from within: populist politics at home. Populism, with its inward-looking focus and disdain for international cooperation, can undermine the very essence of US leadership. It can lead to disengagement from global affairs, ultimately weakening America's influence on the world stage. But let's not lose hope. The US has weathered storms before. It has shown an ability to adapt and evolve, to learn from its past and chart a new course for the future. It's this resilience, this spirit of innovation and adaptability that will help define the future of US leadership. The future of US leadership may lie in a return to its roots of collaboration and international engagement. As we move forward, it's crucial to remember that US leadership is not just about America. It's about the world and how we can work together to create a better, more peaceful and sustainable future for all.